Most people will be surprised to know that I don't support creeper hunter type activities online. And I haven't for a long time, primarily because of what they stand for. Primarily, what they stand for is somebody attempting to gain fame, somebody attempting to exploit a vulnerable person, somebody looking for views or money. We all know these kinds of people. And most people will hate that I say this, but they're doing a disservice to what I think the intent was when somebody like a Chris Hansen first came along. But even a Chris Hansen, this was all commercialized bullshit. And why did Chris Hansen stop doing that when NBC had a profit pig? Well, somebody offed themselves, apparently. The threat of litigation. And that in itself is a good enough reason to not do something like this and to probably not support it. Because even if, like, there is no difference, there's actually a greater disadvantage for doing what I did here in whatever 2000 and something 2000 and probably 2018. I made multiple reports to different police agencies at different times. There's no difference on the predator. From the predator's perspective, there's no difference from their perspective, whether they're being shamed by online communities on YouTube or by the media that shame them and exploit their face and image and name by reporting on a court case. No difference whatsoever. I think we can all agree on this. But where things kind of take a turn is by going one step further and actually examining whether or not that this does something to quote unquote find justice. And I would suggest it doesn't. Because if somebody's in the position where they are going to go meet up with what they believe is a child, you've already lost. We have lost as society. And that's one of the reasons why I discouraged people when I did what was referred to as Creeper Hunter University. There was only one session of it. When I did Creeper Hunter University, talking to people that were interested in going to catch creeps online, primarily it was discouraging to people. One of the people that took that course was Taryn Manning from Orange is the New Black. And she and I became friends after this course. And when it was quite apparent that at the beginning of the course, she wanted to go and catch somebody. At the end of the course, she was fucking scared. She did not want to go and do it. And that was the intent of Creeper Hunter University. Over the 6 hours that I taught those, I think it was like 8 or 9 people took the course, and there was more people that we turned away. That was sort of the end of Creeper Hunter. And that's what I had promised people from a very long time before that point. But from a very long time before that point, the 5 years or so that Creeper Hunter was in existence, I made multiple reports. And this is Officer Sean Diot from the Windsor Police talking about this on the witness stand at my trial in February or January 2023. And multiple police officers were called from my lawyer, Katie Heathcote. More officers than the Crown called. And there was a purpose to that, which was to drive home the message that, first of all, what was being reported was inaccurate. Because the absolute joke of a news agency, the London Free Press, and the woman that I don't even want to say her name, I'm suing her. The woman that reported on my case almost daily was a pathetic, despicable person who freely chatted with her buddy, the Crown attorney, in the hallways on breaks, essentially supporting pedophilia. And in no way whatsoever is that okay with me. And no way do I support Shamed because it supports pedophilia. It supports people being preyed on. And it exploits those people. These are vulnerable people in society. They have something fucking wrong with their head. When I was recently arrested in London for what they said was breach and harassment, I was put in a jail cell. I was put in a jail cell with a man in his 80s. And I was with this man, this elderly man who could hardly get up out of bed. I was put into a cell with him and learned that he had actually harmed. He disclosed to me. They put him in Creeper Hunter's cell, and they thought that was okay with me. And it's not okay with me. There's something wrong in his head that had him harm actual real fucking kids. A 16-year-old, a 10-year-old, possibly a 17-year-old. He didn't know the one age because it was like a family friend. And the Crown, as reported in the newspaper, as reported on fucking TV, because they got nothing better to report on, they reported on this. And they didn't want to say his name in the paper. They didn't want to shame him. Well, primarily because there's likely a publication ban. But they put him in my cell. I started to collect evidence. I don't know why. It's something innate in me, but I started making notes in my jail cell. Every day, this guy would yap and yap and yap, and he's talking about his crimes, his actual crimes, and how he wanted to get out on bail. And the legally trained person that I am was trying on one hand to help him understand the legal system better. And the other side of me was taking notes. Because when I got out of jail on November 20th or whatever the fuck it was, what day was it? When the Crown ultimately dropped the charges randomly and deserted me at the courthouse with nothing. I had no wallets. I didn't even have my shoelaces. In the middle of November, when it was like snowing out in London, Ontario, November 20th. So when I got out of jail, when the Crown suddenly dropped the charges for this supposed breach and supposed harassment charge, I contacted the OPP and I made a report to them about this person from wherever the fuck he was from. Tilsonburg. So I made a report and they asked me to do a video interview and I said, sure. And then the officer, she never called me back. She never contacted me again. And it's now January. They don't care about this issue in society. The justice system doesn't care about preventing it. The justice system cares about feeding itself. That's all the justice system cares about. They care about feeding itself. It is a fucking pig. It needs to survive. It needs to pay lawyers. The justice system needs to pay judges $250,000 a year. It needs to pay the court staff. And it's not going to get that money from the government. It's not going to get that money if crime is going down. It feeds itself. Hopefully, we can all agree on this as well. But the justice system that I've experienced does not do anything to deter. Do I think that Creeper Hunter deterred some people? Absolutely. Do I think that these types of projects, even Chris Hansen types of projects, prevents anything? Absolutely not. Generally speaking, overall, Creeper Hunter does nothing to deter people. Creeper Hunter, the guys in BC, what are those guys' names? Creep catchers. The guy in Michigan, Creep Hansen, whatever his name is, Skeet Hansen, Creep Hansen. The big guy in Texas, what the hell is his name? Predator poachers, I think. They all do nothing to prevent this issue from happening. All they're doing is exploiting. They exploit two different things. They exploit systems that are broken, the actual technology that people use to go and try and find children or just meet with whomever, dating apps or whatever. And they also exploit the predator. The predator is being exploited for the fame and fortune of the predator catcher. It does nothing to deter, because this issue keeps growing and growing and growing, and we see more and more people doing this kind of thing. So anecdotally, we can all understand that this problem isn't going away. The problem is with companies like Meta and Elon Musk's company, Twitter, and other tech companies like Bumble and Tinder and Hinge and Grindr. All of those companies allow adults to chat with kids. And when you, as society, say, hey, we don't want children chatting with adults online. Well, tough luck. Guess what you support? You support all these companies here. WhatsApp, 1.8 million child sex abuse reports. Tinder's on here. They kind of have been trying to mask this, but 686 cases, and these are the reported cases, but like, we all know in this industry, and I'm in this industry, we all know that these go unreported all the time. And that these technology companies are actually trying to hide where the fix is. And it's simple. And people, the tech companies that you see here tagged 5,000 on a dating app, 5,000 child sex abuse reports on a dating app. Snapchat, 1.1 million child sex abuse reports on a social media platform that is known to have, about 75% of its audience under the age of 18. Roblox, 24,000. I just saw an article today that Roblox is now doing facial analysis of some kind. I'm not sure what. Haven't tested it yet. But Roblox is now doing some kind of age verification. And that's great. But apparently it sucks. The people going on Roblox are saying the following about the experience on Roblox. Look at this. People are upset, obviously. But look at this one. New update on the chats now. So stupid. You can only chat with people within your age group. Some people find it safer, but when you enter servers, it becomes a ghost town. That's because if you're going on there and it's a ghost town now, that's because most of those people were adults. People want to complain about age verification. And they will migrate away from products like this for that very reason. The government in the US has been attempting to bring in federal legislation and regulation to have age verification. Right now, it's about 13 US states have some kind of age verification law on social media or on adult sites. And that is not enough. This patchwork cannot continue. We need all governments taking action about this, because These companies are going to go to jurisdictions where they don't have to have age verification. We see in Australia age verification for everybody, trying to prevent under 16-year-olds getting on social media in Australia. And it's only 4 or 5, a small handful of platforms. So now we're going to see those 4 or 5 platforms, people migrating away from them to go use other platforms where age verification isn't necessary. That becomes another problem. Now, you don't know this, but I am doing more than this stupid-ass documentary filmmaker will ever be able to do in his life on this issue of protecting children online. And more than the police will ever be able to do, because the police are chasing after people that have already harmed someone. And the justice system is trying to punish people who have already harmed someone. I, at all material times, have been trying to prevent this issue and show the exploitation where it can happen. And that doesn't get reported on. That gets mocked by the goddamn London Free Press. If you support the London Free Press, if you support these platforms that have these high numbers of child sex abuse report, then think about how you support child sex abuse online. Instagram. I'm not going to talk about how I support prevention methods. Well, I'll tell you. One is very controversial, and I guess I will mention it because it wasn't mentioned in the documentary. It wasn't mentioned in any of the news media, but I mentioned it in court, that there is a support group that I helped to found. I helped to found a support group for people that are attracted to minors. And guess what? None of the fucking media want to cover that when we sent out press releases. The London Free Press ignored it. They want to report on predators being caught instead of prevention methods. They want to wait till it's too fucking late. They want your child and my child to be harmed until it's too fucking late. That's when they want to report on it. They want to exploit it, just like the justice system. Know what you support. Find healthier social media. It's out there, trust me.